Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Breeding Barn with Cobbitty Equine. We're about to go international once again because it is a very exciting time of year, particularly in the Southern Hemisphere, with the yearling sales season about to get underway. And to bring us up to date and chat about plenty, in fact, not just the yearling sales, but a lot that's transpiring. It's great to have the Breckon Farms team joining us for another episode. Breckon and Nigel Fahy joining me. Good morning, guys. I'm sure it's very busy there on the ground presently. How are we coping? It looks a beautiful day there in the North Island of New Zealand.
Certainly is. Morning.
Morning, Brittany. Yes, she's beautiful day here. It has been for the last few weeks, really. We're crying out for a bit of rain, but good for getting the yearlings nice and shiny for the upcoming sales. So no, we're all in full swing with the yearling prep and looking forward to middle of February.
I was going to say, in terms of yearling prep time for you, this is a dream to be able to have a bit of sun to work with, but it's also a case at the moment, I'm going to talk to Karen about it shortly in some more depth. You've got some great facilities to prepare these yearlings from this time around. That must be making life a little easier.
Oh, most definitely. It's it's a bit of a luxury, really. Like, I know the horses they've taken it to like a duck to water there. They're like just right from the first day they went in there, they were just so settled, and it's really open barn, and you can everyone can see everyone else, and the horses, they just, like, the first night after they were in there, Ken and I and Karen went for a walk through, and we had 23 colts in a barn, and you'd swear it was empty. Like, there was you could hear a pin drop. It was that quiet. They were just completely at ease and relaxed, and yeah, they've come on really well from, like, really been no stress, no dramas.
Karen, in terms of this new, I guess, era of Breckon Farms, it's been a massive investment of not only money, but time from yourself and Ken to get to this point. And for those who haven't seen the pictures, I'm sure they'll be able to go and have a look at your social media pages. It is something quite magnificent. Is it everything you'd hoped for?
Brittany, it's everything I hoped for and more. It was quite nerve-wracking to, actually spend the money and do it, because we had COVID times, the industry was going through a little bit, so you kind of get nervous and you think, oh, but our stables that we did have were really bad, and we both looked at maybe going for a cheaper option, and in the end, when you go too cheap or whatever, you're not satisfied and you're not happy about it. So we decided to go for it, and it's been the best thing we've ever done. It's been amazing. The guys that did the build have been incredible. The fit out's just amazing, and like Nigel said, with the horses, it's just, I mean, they don't know themselves, the staff. I mean, it was 5 years in the making by the time Ken and I kind of researched and found out what we wanted, where we were going to put them. It took us a long time and a lot of thinking, but when we built, we were very prepared. We had great architects. It took us 5 years to plan it, and it only took us 9 months to build it.
Well, that's amazing, and it is quite incredible. I'm hoping to be able to come and have a little squiz at some point. I was able to get a mid-stage report, but I can't wait to see the real thing. In regards to, I guess, the industry feedback, because this is a huge investment, and I know that you're very keen to let it be known this isn't just for Breckon Farms, this is for the industry to enjoy, and you were able to have an open day. What did everyone have to say? You must have been very proud.
Oh, extremely proud. I mean, I think it amazed everyone. I don't think they thought that it was going to be that big, and it's great for our industry and putting trotting on the map. We have great horses and we have a great product, and I think everyone was very surprised, weren't they, Nigel?
Yeah, I mean, the feedback was like 100% positive. There was no real issues with anything, and yeah, like when the day that we opened it, like, you could see the people, they were just shaking their heads at what we'd sort of built and what it had turned into. It was quite spectacular, really. Yeah.
Actually, Sir Peter Valla, who's from NZB, he came and he said it was probably the best stables he's ever seen, and that's quite large when he's been throughout the world, with galloping, and so that was a real big compliment.
Yeah, that's huge, and it must make you really chuffed to think that it's your own, and the fact that so many people are very complimentary of it. So we're heading towards yearling sales time, and we know that the barn's going to play a massive role in that. But we've just wrapped up, or for many, we're wrapping up breeding season. Nigel, how did that go? And have you had your last foals on the ground?
Yeah, December 23rd we had our last foal, which was just before Christmas, which was a
Hey,
welcome Christmas present, but no more sleepless nights. But it's been really good. We've got about 45, 46 foals on the ground. No real dramas. We always get a few crook runs or whatnot, but no, nothing too bad. Just the usual stuff. But then in terms of our breeding, it's probably been our best year in terms of getting mares in foal. We've got a record number in foal thus far, and probably I think we've got 8 left to scan that have just sort of been late serves in the previous. Well, I think we bred a couple on the weekend, so they're probably sort of towards the end of it, and nearly got. There's 3 or 4 mares that we've sort of just pulled pin on that just weren't really playing the game, or had lost lost a pregnancy late in the season. So, but all in all, we're probably looking at upwards of 50 odd foals next year, which is pretty exciting. Yeah.
Absolutely. Karen, in terms of the breeding decisions, and I know yourself and Ken have really invested heavily into your broodmare band, and you've got a great, I guess, base of your own mares and your own breed, but there was a pretty exciting purchase made late last year. Tell us about that and how that was and how that is for the farm to look forward to for the future.
yeah, that was very, very exciting. Millwood Nike. She's a lovely, lovely mare. And that was, I had always made a joke when I went down to Christchurch at Nathan's and Mark Curtin's property. I always used to say, "Oh, she'll look nice in a Breckon Farms barn," and it was only a joke. But it turned out to be a reality, and the owners of her approached us. They had been offered big money actually from America and I think Australia, and they rang us up and spoke to us. And we were so humbled that they phoned us and they said, "Look, we'd really like the horse to stay in New Zealand," which is incredible on their part. You've got hats off to them because we couldn't really afford what America would pay or even Australia. So, not that we got it cheap by any means, but they were very helpful in trying to get us to buy the mare. And she's amazing, isn't she, Nigel?
Yeah, she is. She is a really lovely horse and like a real athlete of a big strong girl. But even her demeanour and stuff, right from the day she got here, she's such a lovely mare to do anything with, and was just so straightforward, even breeding her and everything like that. She's
Yeah, remember our vet came to check her out, and he was so shocked. He said he could have bred her that day, didn't he?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that certainly makes your life a lot easier, doesn't it?
But sometimes that doesn't happen with those horses that, especially horses that race like her, how many wins? 17 in a row.
17, yeah.
Usually they take a year to come down. So that was incredible.
Yeah, definitely took the pressure off me at the farm and getting her in foal, and that she was just a dream, which was so hopefully she can sort of continue that on.
It's going to be it's going to be a very exciting day when her first foal is born. So we will wait and watch with interest. But in terms of the other breeding decisions that you make, Karen, I know that it's an ever-changing and evolving landscape, and there are the hot size, and you're a commercial breeder, so you want to take a product to the sales that you're hoping people in 3 years' time will be interested in. But when you're making your breeding decisions, I'm assuming it's a team effort, but how do you go about that? And is it a mixture of, trial and error and going with established and knowing what works? How do you go through that? Because if you're breeding 50 plus mares, it's a fair bit of time, I'd assume.
Yeah, well, a lot actually goes into it and deciding, and that's where Nigel and Ken are amazing because both of them, they both go away. Ken will talk to me, and we decide what we think, and Nigel actually makes his decision too. So and then we come together at the end and then make a decision, and it's quite funny. Usually it's they've made, you know, similar,
Yeah.
and then we go from there. And then a lot, sometimes it can be frozen or fresh, and sometimes the frozen is a little bit more difficult, so then you have to have a fresh semen that you have had on your mind that you want. So yeah, it's up and down, isn't it, Nigel?
Yeah, definitely. And we've always got at least one backup as well. Like we always got a backup stallion if for some reason they don't get in foal. But yeah, we do a lot of research into like the crosses and stuff that have been working in North America, especially, and in Australia. And a lot of it's sort of stats based, but also you might see a few that was a nice horse, and it might just have had something go wrong with it, and sort of try and pick out a few different crosses. But yeah, like, and predominantly we sort of do try and go with obviously established stallions, especially for the yearling market. But if we've bred a mere 2 or 3 times to a particular stallion, and it hasn't really kicked the goal as we had sort of expected or hoped, then we're definitely not afraid to try something new, and even like go for like a lesser or a new season side like we have this year with likes of Confederate, who bred 3 mares.
Just on that breeding decision as well, I know that you've supported the Cobbitty team, and 3 mares, I believe, Nigel, went in foal to Confederate this year, which is, I know, something that the team are really proud of, and you went right to the top as well.
Yeah, no, that's right. I sort of had them back in my mind when I knew Confederate was coming out here. The Twist and Twirl, we bred her to Confederate, which was, I thought it would be a bit of a struggle to get Ken and Karen over the line with that, being the broodmare gem she is. But to Ken and Karen's credit, they were very open to trying something new with her. Like, she's basically just gone to Better's Delight and Rock and Roll Dance, and obviously Rock and Roll Hanover with King and Swing. So no, we decided to sort of change it up, and like, she's quite a big boned mare herself, so being Confederate not being a huge horse, he might like tidy her up or tidy the progeny up a bit. So hopefully a bit of speed and a bit of strength, which is what the mare had, we could produce something really spectacular, hopefully.
And that's the same when we bred King of Swing. You know, Ken went out of the box, really. I mean, going for what he went for, and having King of Swing, it was just a beautiful cross, absolutely just perfect. And look at him, you know.
Yeah,
so,
look at him.
Yeah, we are always thinking out of the box too. But as you say, being commercial, that's kind of difficult as well.
Yeah, it is a balancing act, isn't it? And you are forced to be a bit of a fortune teller at times, looking into the future to see what's going to happen. So it is a balancing act. You've brought up King of Swing, and we'd love to talk about him in a little bit more depth, because he, of course, and speaking to Megan from Cobbitty Equine Farm, has just served another full book, his 3rd full book in as many years. You must be very proud of him as a horse, but what he achieved on the racetrack, and maybe even more so, without even having horses step out himself, progeny. I guess the opinion that everyone has about him, it's full circle as a breeder.
Yeah, it's so exciting. Actually, what has happened with King of Swing is every breeder's dream, really, because that's why you do it. To breed a horse like that, it's just fantastic. You couldn't ask for anything better.
He was an amazing racehorse. He, of course, set a new mark when he was able to win 3 Miracle Miles, and he really made Menangle his own before going to stud. But what really stood out for King of Swing, and anybody who was to see him, was he was a magnificent horse. He just had it all, great attitude. He made my job nice and easy. He used to stand there on the track and look around at everyone. He just knew he was good. And yourself, Karen, and the team have supported him as well as a stallion, as I'm not surprised that you did, being one of your own. But of course, that family's so prevalent, I guess you have to pick and choose where you can use him, but you have.
Oh, absolutely. You know, as a yearling as well, when he was a yearling and we were selling him, he was magnificent. Well, I said to Ken, you know, I'll go eat my hat if he doesn't make it on the track. You know, he was just, he's beautiful, and his gait, everything. Why wouldn't you you know, as us or anyone really, why wouldn't you breed to King of Swing? Like you say, his nature, his gait, and his presence. He always had a presence, and he's so
Yeah.
friendly and loving. You know,
Mm.
I remember going over to Menangle, and it was quite funny. I went into the stables, and this is when he was doing the Miracle Mile before the race. And I went up to him, and he put his head on my shoulder and gave me a hug, you know, and that was him.
Yeah, a beautiful, beautiful, kind horse. And I know that
Yeah.
I'm hearing that his progeny are much the same. And even if you have already been,
He's
yep,
definitely stamps them. They're quite
yep,
Yeah,
nice, aren't they, Nigel?
yeah. Like we've got one yearling in the sales this year, lot 26 at the Auckland sale. It's a King of Swing colt out of Lydia's Delight, and even as a young foal, like Ken and Karen and I, and we go around and have a look at the foals, and he was like, there's 3 or 4 Group 1 mares in this paddock he was in, and some really nice, like, quality foals. And I said to Ken, I was like, have a look at this, and you tell me which is the nicest foal in here, without knowing who they were by or anything. And it was the Lydia's Delight colt. He was an absolute standout. Like, he had that presence about him. Um, he's continued to grow. He's like, they all look pretty shiny and pretty flashy up there at the moment. But like he's taken, like, the yearling prep. He's taken everything in his stride. He's got a bit of a brain on him, and like he is a really nice horse himself. And obviously, being out of Lydia's Delight, which is a full sister to Party On, who was a Group 1 winning mare, and a family that you know quite well yourself, Britt.
yeah, absolutely. I'll be checking that one out. It might be a little bit outside of my price range, I think, but I will be looking just in case. You never know. You don't know if you
Don't
don't
know
have
your
a little look. Exactly right. But looking forward to seeing all the King of Swings go through, and they're actually being broken in at the moment by those who aren't putting horses through the sale. So that's another exciting step. But all reports are they're beautiful horses, just like he was, and I'm sure they're going to be very popular at the sales. Not only are they eligible for the state jurisdictions, but obviously the Cobbitty Equine Classic as well. His progeny, for those who have paid up with the foal payment, that's going to be another opportunity. So the opportunities really are endless. In terms of your draft, though, Karen, it's big this year heading to Karaka. It's always a nervous time, I find. At least I'm always nervous this time of year. You just want them to get there in one piece, and it is a tough time for breeders because everything has to go right. But what's the feeling like there in New Zealand about a month out from the sales?
I think it's really positive. We've had a lot of people phoning up and having private parades and everything like that. And I think going forward, you know, what's happening in the industry in New Zealand, there is definitely a up. I definitely think it's more positive even than last year. So, you know, I mean, Ken hates me around this time. I get very nervous and I'm shocking, but I do feel very positive.
And Nigel, in terms of for those who want to have a look at your draft locally, I'm sure you'd be happy to show anyone, but I've seen the videos popping up. You were nice and early there, so there's no excuse for people to not be well researched in lead up to the sales.
Yeah, that's right. We always aim. We do 4 weeks yearling prep with them prior to Christmas, and that last week we do their videos and try to get them up, and everyone's sitting at the batch and having a couple of drinks and enjoying the holiday period. They can sort of sit back on their phone and watch the videos. That's our idea behind it. And then sort of next week we're going to do the photos. So we'll do some headshots and confirmation shots and whatnot, and then we'll send those through. And they should be up, especially at least by the end of the month, just so that people can get a rough idea. But it is quite amazing how much we turn them out for 2 weeks at Christmas, New Year, and how much they really grow and develop. It's just like anything, really, like a young horse. You tip him out in the paddock after he's had a couple of trials or a couple of races, and they come back a lot stronger and a lot better and like mentally refreshed. And that's something that it's worked for us. So we'll continue to do that. But I was amazed that even this week when we had a parade yesterday, and I didn't recognise one of the horses. He had sort of changed that much. It sort of really filled out, and just that 2 weeks in the paddock with a bit of sun on your back and just relaxing. It was like they get the holiday too, and like it definitely works wonders for us.
one thing before I let you guys go, because I've taken up a lot of your time, but you do the sort of the run-up videos as part of your video, and I know that's something that particularly the North American market want to see, and it's not something that's I guess prevalent in Australian videos, but it's becoming more and more important to people, and that's something that you guys have really focused in on. And it is, you want to see what these horses move like, so that's a fairly vital part and something you guys have been fairly ahead of the curve with as well.
Yeah, that's right. I worked a couple of years in Canada, a farm called Farms up there, and like they were quite big, and they had a big draft for their yearling prep, and that's something that they done every year, and it's something we brought back with us, and decided we'd give it a crack here, and like it's sort of evolved every year. We just do a little bit more or change a few things around, but it's working. It seems to work, and the feedback from a lot of the trainers has been really great too. Like it's like exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Like it's the action and how they move and how they're like,
how naturally they move.
Exactly.
Without, they're not going to hit their knee or
And I think even with the trotters in particular, they're trotting, you get to see their gait. So that's something that, with the paces can sometimes be hard. Some of them are free leg, but as a rule with the trotters, you can really see how they're going to use their body. And that's so vital in with the trotting gait improving so much. I could sit here all day and talk to you guys, but I won't, because I can understand with as many yearlings and happenings at the farm that you would have lots to do. But we do appreciate you joining us. Best of luck with the yearling sales upcoming. We'll be laying particular focus on that King of Swing colt, and good luck with the breeding season to come as well with those Confederates hitting the ground. Thank you again for your time.
Thanks, Brittany.
Thanks a lot, Britt. Cheers.
Cheers.